Oh, oh, check it out. Shoot him off.
I like this.
Yeah. Now, to all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes.
Back tire replacement for Razor E200 scooter. Starting with the scooter already inverted on the work table with chain guard removed, but all other steps will be illustrated. Tools, simple pair of pliers, 16mm box wrench, 3/8 box wrench, needle nose pliers to get into a nasty area to take off the brake, 8mm socket, and the tire. So next we take our 16mm box wrench and loosen the back axle. Other side becomes loose to the hand. And that gives us a loose enough tire in order to be able to remove the chain, which is easily done. Removes from the chain tensioner below. As you can see, when the unit is inverted, the chain tensioner will drop toward the roof of the body, but when the unit is turned back over on the ground, the chain tensioner will fall with gravity onto the chain and provide tension for the chain. Okay, next is the toughest part, which is removing the brake housing from the frame. We have a 8mm socket wrench here, which we use for the outside bolt head. The hard part is actually getting inside and holding on to the nut. You can't really do it very well with a pair of pliers, but we're going to try anyway. And initially it's good to maybe use needle nose pliers just because of the tight tolerance here to get in. So we'll put that on. I'll use our right hand to get in on it if you're right-handed. Get a good squeeze and some leverage, which I've done. And then we can take our ratchet and start loosening. As you can see, starts to loosen, and then we kind of lose hold on the nut because of the amount we've loosened it. So the pliers can come in handy here if we can just get a grip on that and keep loosening. Takes a little bit of a strong hand. Can't do it, then maybe get to the gym and do some curls and then come back and try again. Okay, once we get that, pull that out, pull the bolt out, put that aside. Remember where the sleeve goes. The sleeve goes in between the brake housing and the actuator. It's got to go back there when you're done. So just take your needle nose pliers and grab a hold of that. Pull out the nut, the sleeve, put those all together. Make a common package. Okay, now that we have detached the brake housing and the actuator anchor from the frame, we can turn the tire, remove the tire axle from the frame and turn the tire on its side to expose the hub that needs to be removed. This takes an Allen key. You do not need to remove the sprocket. You just need to remove the hub with an Allen key. I happen to have a nice tri-key here that I use on my bicycle. Not everybody will have one of these. You can use a standard Allen key too. The middle one here, I'm not sure the measurement, it's called a 5 here, but you just need to fit the right Allen key. Ultimately, you need to be able to get in and loosen these Allen nuts, okay, away so that you remove the hub from the wheel. So we'll do these one by one, unscrew them. One. There are 4 altogether. one of the big mistakes a lot of people make is not knowing that this hub gets removed to expose the tire, and they might try to remove the tire from the hub with a screwdriver or some sort of straight edge device, but will be a failed enterprise. Don't try it. One more. A few washers in there too that we gotta extract at the end of all this. And this last one is not accessible through the holes, and so we've just got a regular old Allen wrench here. If you have a longer one, it's probably better, give you more leverage, but I don't, so I'm just gonna go in here. Hopefully I'll be able to get enough leverage to loosen this. There. And this is not going to be as easy as the last one was, of course, because now we got to go little by little. Almost out. That one was a bear. Got it. Okay. Now we can extract the hub from the tire right off. Okay. And we got the valve stem that's kind of stuck in there. It's out now. Okay. And there are some washers in here as well. You can see them. I'll go ahead and dump them out on the table here because we'll need to put them back in with the Allen nuts. Okay. And now we got access to the bad tire. Alright, so now that we've exposed the hub, old tires removed, here's the new tire and tube assembly straight out of the box. Tube is already inside the tire. And so we just place it over the axle and into the hub. And it's important that the valve stem rest in the little indentation that's there in the other side of the hub assembly so that it can move freely when we actually need to pump that up. And then we just go ahead and take our other part of our hub assembly and sprocket, and you can see there's a hole inside where the valve stem needs to come through. Okay, right there. So we slide it onto the axle, and so that valve stem comes right through the hole. You come from the top and see. You can see that we just slid it right on there. Now the valve stem is poking through the hole. We're ready to reattach the hub assembly. Okay, so now we're ready to reattach the hub and sprocket assembly to the newly installed tire. We have our Allen nuts that came out that we already extracted, and as I said, there were 4 washers that were also left behind in there that I pulled out. The easiest thing to do is to just put them on the actual nuts and then put the nuts in like that. So basically the reverse of what we did the first time. You know the deal. The easiest thing to do is to probably try to put that on the edge or on the end and stick it through one by one, screw those in. And don't tighten each one down super tight at the beginning. It's just like replacing any kind of a tire. When you're doing the lug nuts, you want to balance them out, so we'll just go to sort of hand tight there, and we'll do all of them sort of hand tight, and then at the end we'll tighten them all in sequence. Okay, and so now we're just going through and finishing up the tightening. We got everything in. The tough one that takes a really long time. We didn't film this time, but it's in there and done. Okay, keep going. Nice, well-balanced wheel. Good and tight. everything's tight. Okay, and while we've got the tire easily exposed here, we're going to go ahead and pump it up. If you watched the first video in the post from decades and decades ago, when my son, who is actually filming here, was just a little boy, I was a much younger man, you would have saw that we demonstrated a way to pump up the tire by just removing the chain guard when the unit is totally assembled. But since we've got it all disassembled here and we don't really want to go through that, we'll just go ahead and pump up the tire while the unit's on its back here and the tire is easily accessible. So we'll still use the same basketball pump. Go ahead and get in through the hole just like we showed in the last video. And I'll just attach that. Let's see if we can get that. And just thread that through. Attached to the valve stem. Let's go ahead and attach out here next. And pump away. It feels pretty good. Feels like a pretty good tire. Give it one more pump, just for good measure. We're good. Okay, now we're ready to reinstall the tire assembly. First thing we need to do is make sure we get the chain slid on to the sprocket. So just put that on. Actually, the only important thing right now is that we get it on that side so we can put the axle through the frame. Okay, and going to slide in that side. In that side. Okay. And we're in. And now it's just a matter of tightening. So we go ahead and get ourselves tight. Spin the wheel. Looks good. Okay. And we can go ahead and attach the chain. The chain comes over the tensioner, which will fall when the unit is right side up in the right spot. It's pretty easy to get that onto the sprocket. Hey guys, everything's back together. Getting ready to put the chain guard on. It's all running good. One correction I wanted to make on the chain tensioner earlier. This part of the chain was not over the tensioner. We just had it looped around it. So make sure that you bring the full chain both sides so that the chain tensioner is underneath the entire chain before you put it on the sprockets, and then you'll need that when you turn it over. At that point, just roll, put it on like a regular chain, okay, just like a bike chain. Now we have everything on. Now all we need to do is reassemble or reattach the brake assembly and tighten down our axle, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so now we're going to reassemble the brake housing, the actuator anchor. Remember, we had this sleeve that goes in between the two. The easiest thing to do is to come through first with our washer. Bring it up. Okay, get it through there. Put our sleeve in. Push it through. And then through the hole in the anchor for the actuator. Alright, and we've got what we need. Now we're through. And we just need to put the nut on here. And tighten that down. Just tighten this down. Oops, it's always a hard one to get a hold of. Try to keep a hold of it. Maybe some light would help. Pliers. Maybe pliers work better. Get this out of the way. That's not out of the way. This way. see, we definitely want it to be straight. Super important. Okay, so let's straighten that out. This is not the easiest part of this assembly, my friends. Not the easiest part. But we will get it, because we have to. I think we're there. And everything looks good. Okay, we should tighten the axle